Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. KCNSE Awards Builders Club Math and Essay Competition winners. The Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew recently hosted the 2022 edition of its annual Builders Club Maths and Essay competitions after not being able to for 2 years due to the restrictions related to the novel coronavirus pandemic. The competitions are in support of the fourth object of Kiwanis International, which is to develop, by precept and example, more intelligent, aggressive, and serviceable citizenship. According to the competition coordinator Dennis Cunningham, 2 students from the 10 KCNSE sponsored Builders Club are eligible to enter each of the competition. For this year, there were 23 participants. Halfway Tree Primary School Builders Club was announced as the overall winner of both the maths and essay competitions. For the maths competition, first and second place went to Jahil Garden and Justine Gray respectively from Halfway Tree Primary, and there was a tie for third place for Deandra Dixon from St. Francis Primary and Infant School and McKinney Morgan from New Day Primary School. The essay competition also saw Halfway Tree Primary copying first and second place, with honors going to Ashery Margand and Zuri Blackwood. Third place went to Samantha Watkins from Constant Spring Primary. The winners were presented with their trophies and book grants from Book and Stationery Place, Portmore. Gift baskets were presented to the faculty advisors courtesy of Grace Kennedy and Facey Commodity Limited. Councillor warns that Mount Salem could revert to crime after Zozo. A St. James councillor is convinced that once the zone of special operations Zozo ends in Mount Salem, the community will revert to the crime and violence that plagued it before the anti-crime measure was put in place 4 years ago. According to Councillor Kerry Thomas, People's National Party Mount Salem Division, not enough has been done to provide viable alternatives to a life of crime and to arm residents with the skills needed to peacefully settle differences. While he was pleased with the latest extension of the security measure, he told reporters on Thursday that he would have been happier if the community was in a position where the Zozo was no longer needed. Mount Salem was the first community in the country to be declared as Zozo. The police presence is always good in any community. The extension of it keeps the man of the people in a very comfortable position. However, personally, when we analyze it, after 4.5 years, the Zozo should be looking to leave the community. It should have become sustainable in the sense of having the people in a state or place where crime is not the first resort, reasoned Thomas. He believed that hard policing has been effective and now needs to be replaced by a softer touch. The softer side of the Zozo, which is supposed to resolve whatever tensions are between families throughout communities and get them now to start accepting forgiveness and move on with life, has not taken place, Thomas argued. So, it's not just about extending the measure. The work has to be done on the ground to ensure that at some time it can leave. It can't stay forever, and normally the legislation period is about 3 years. We are 1.5 years over that now, and they get the impression that tomorrow morning everything will go back to square one with the murders taking place, said Thomas. He believes the long-term solution includes more job opportunities for young people and putting in place restorative justice mechanisms. So short-term, you make the police presence stay, but at the same time, you have to come in now and effect real change in the mind of the people. Get the youth out there, get them through good professions so they can get employed and change the minds of the people. Go into the spaces that need restorative justice and talk to people, find out where the tensions are, and bring families and friends together so we can resolve the issues, he stated. Jury trials set to resume. After a 2-year break because of the novel coronavirus pandemic, jury trials will resume for the Easter term of the Home and Rural Circuits, which begins on Wednesday. Director of Client Services, Communications and Information at Court Administration Division, Kedisha Fletcher, announced that long-anticipated resumption of jury trials in a letter to reporters. Jury trials were suspended in March 2020 when Jamaica recorded its first case of COVID-19. Since then, the courts have made efforts to get jury trials back on track, even sending out notices to juries, but had to retract given unforeseen spikes in COVID-19 cases. In the interim, judge-alone trials have gained popularity, with Chief Justice leading the push for this to become the norm. This issue for me is an efficient justice system. All our processes should be reviewed, and trial by jury, as important as it is, must be one of them, argued the Chief Justice, to the annoyance of some prominent attorneys who are adamant that the trial by jury should remain a feature for Jamaica's justice system. Fletcher noted that a discussion has been ongoing as to the effectiveness of jury trials, but argued that, while the debate goes on, the judiciary must get on with the business of the court. The jury system remains a part of our justice system, and on the evidence of the last 2 years, it is the preferred mode of trial by most accused persons, said Fletcher. While that is the case in terms of preference, Jamaicans must recognize that if the jury system is to be effective, it requires the participation of the ordinary Jamaican who makes up the jury pool. It should not be that we want the jury system to remain, but some citizens are reluctant to serve as jurors, added Fletcher. She pointed out that the jury system requires the guilt of an accused person to be determined by a group of people drawn from society. The presumption is that juries understand the nuisance of their society and bring to bear on a trial their collective experiences, said Fletcher. She underscored that Jamaicans between the ages of 18 and 70 who are registered voters or have a tax registration number TRN are reminded that they are eligible for selection to serve as a jury. Once employees are summoned for jury duty, they must inform their employer. Informing an employer does not mean the selected jury is seeking permission to serve. Rather, this is done to maintain a good work relationship and to account for the time the employee will be away from work. It also allows employers to plan to ensure minimal impact on their businesses. If employers do not grant time off, or if punitive actions are taken against an employee for serving as a jury, it must be reported to the court, Fletcher pointed out. After an individual is summoned and selected for jury duty, he or she must attend court for the duration of the trial. Failure to show up for jury duty can result in a fine of up to $10,000 if the court was not given prior notice or a reasonable explanation for the absence. People can be exempted from jury service only on the grounds of illness or for any other good reason determined by the Chief Justice or presiding judge in the parish to which the application is made. Jurors must not share information about the case with anybody except their fellow jurors who are hearing the same matter, and they should report any threat or actions of intimidation to the presiding judge. Jurors always receive a stipend of $2,000 for each day they serve as jury, for each day they are empaneled. If a person is not selected to hear a case, the stipend is not paid pursuant to the Jury Act. Jurors will receive their payment electronically via direct deposit as the judiciary seeks to ensure that payments are done within a timely manner. Jurors should submit the documents outlined by the court in order to facilitate and expedite payments. The documents include banking information are to be submitted by the end of the trial. Fletcher reminded Jamaicans summoned to jury duty that it is their civil duty to serve the jury system and to help others secure justice. Frequent breakdowns frustrate JUTC drivers, passengers. The island's premier transportation company, Jamaica Urban Transit Company JUTC, has caused drivers and passengers pain with regular breakdowns mid-transit. One bus driver, who wishes to remain anonymous, told reporters he is tired of the buses constantly breaking down, and he attributes the condition of the vehicles to poor management. I have a bus where me operate for the last 5 years, and the windscreen wiper never work it. And me complain, and me write it up till me weak. So me realize say, it not going anywhere. The passengers are relying on us. Me have to force and drive the bus in a rain, because if me start work before the rain start and me have the passengers, me can't leave them a road and me can't park them up in the bus, the driver lamented. As it relates to the complaints about the bus, he has been operating without a functioning windscreen wiper. The bus driver simply say, when management are tell us now is that we must bring in the bus when rain start fall. So in a case like that, when we have passengers then en route, what me do? So it no make no sense. You have to expect rain at any given time. You can't just drive on the road and then rain just start fall, he said, adding that he had brought his complaints as far as managing director but to no avail. Barely able to hide his frustration during the interview, the driver said, "The management system is down. The bus where we operate, you know, a AC air-conditioned bus, but them no really have no window, just some little blinds, and yesterday the AC stopped work. Yesterday me I drive and my blood pressure not too good because me up in a age. Me complain to them till me weak about the AC, and up to yesterday when the bus break down with me and the other mechanical defects, me just have to leave it because the brake run out, everything run out," he continued in the interview. Adding that he had to force and drive it from Crossroads to go down to War Theatre, go to park it, because he did not want to leave his passengers stranded. He also noted that on many occasions in the past, after a particular bus stopped working and he had to leave it on the road, it sometimes took days for someone to collect the vehicle and take it for repairs. The passengers deserve better service and better value for their money because, every country is supposed to have a national transport system, and it's like them are going to do everything to phase out this one, he said. Attempting to verify the many complaints about JUTC buses malfunctioning during transit, reported team board a number 23 bus heading to Spanish Town St. Catherine from the Halfway Tree Transport Center on March 12. The ride was nothing short of challenging, with the driver needing to stop multiple times because the vehicle was overheating. A 30 to 40 minute drive lasted close to 2 hours, and although passengers were observed being sympathetic to the driver, who was apologetic, they aired their displeasure with the company. One man even went as far to shout the people they need to fix the bus. Speaking with passenger Daniela Wilke, the following day, she explained that a few months ago, while heading to work from Spanish Town, the vehicle overheated and the driver had to stop. "I live in Spanish Town area, so it broke down when we got into Hydel group of schools. Before the trouble started, the atmosphere was normal, but afterwards, everyone was a bit confused. We had to take another bus. Thankfully, one was nearby, but I lost my seat, and the new bus didn't take me to my final destination. I was heading to Crossroads, but the new bus took me to Halfway Tree," Wilkie stated. Another passenger, Maurice, spoke the last time he took a JUTC bus. "The last time I took a bus in January from Papine, a 78, before reaching my destination downtown, the bus broke down along Slipe Road, which them caused passengers to exit the bus, stranded until another bus stopped, so we could get on. It took me about 10 minutes to get another bus, because I couldn't get a taxi, as all of them were coming down full. I was late for work," Murray said, noting that he usually takes a taxi, but decided on a whim to take the bus. He vows never to take another JUTC bus. However, despite the bus driver stating that the buses seem to return with the same or more issues after sending them to be serviced, corporate communications manager at JUTC, Cecil Toms, told reporters that servicing is done once per month on all operational buses. But he said unscheduled maintenance takes place daily to include issues such as punctured tires, broken windscreen, etc., and is not predictable. With a fleet of 608 buses and 878 drivers, Toms reported that injured buses, with an average over the 12 years, mostly experienced transmission failure, engine oil seal leak, and suspension repairs. Currently, 105 buses are no longer functioning due to various operational issues. We have been advised that new buses approximate 50 will be procured to boost the fleet and are expected to arrive in the later quarter of this year, Toms disclosed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.